Hello, and welcome to today's episode, which deals with the various procedures involved in shipping and insurance practices, which constitute the essential services for the operation of foreign trade. In this episode, we shall be covering the following topics. 1. Packing and marking for exports. 2. Forwarding and clearing agents and their operations. 3. Cargo insurance, its importance, basic principles, types of cover, types of losses, and determination of premium. Number 4. Obtaining a cover or filing a claim. I am Wafia Kissa and our subject expert is Miss Adiba Bari, a management professional with specialization in marketing and international business. So, let us start today's session with our first topic, which is packing and marking for exports. An important stage after the manufacturing of goods or their procurement is their preparation for shipment, which involves packing and labeling of goods to be exported. Proper packaging and labeling not only makes the final product look attractive, but also saves a huge amount of money by saving the product from wrong handling. Labeling requirements differ from country to country, and the same can be ascertained well in advance from the buyer. The label should indicate quality, quantity, method of use, etc. as per the latest requirement. Barcode labeling is proposed to be made compulsory for many products. Packaging presents your goods to the overseas buyer in an attractive way. While packaging, quality should not be compromised merely to cut down costs. Packaging should also be in conformity with the instructions issued by the importer. Packaging refers to external containers used for transportation. The shape of packaging cases plays a very important role in packing the cargo, and the nature of packing material to be used will depend upon the items exported. As regards to specification for the size, weight and strength, care must be taken to ensure that the weight of standard case does not exceed 50 kg for easy handling of cargo. The size of packs should be designed in such a way that maximum cargo can be loaded in containers. Before packing and sealing the goods, it should be ensured that all the contents are properly placed in the case, and a list of contents of packing notes should be prepared so that the buyer, the customs authorities, and the insurance authorities can easily check the contents of each and every case. The consolidated statement of contents for a number of cases is called the packing list, which should be prepared in the prescribed standardized format. Marking means to mark the address, number of packages, etc. on the packets. It is essential for identification purpose and should provide information on exporter's mark, importer's mart, port of destination and place of destination, order number and date, gross net and tier weight, and handling instructions. All shipping cases should be marked with a number of special symbols selected by the exporters or the importers, so that the competitors are not in a position to find out the details of the customers and the country of destination or supplier's country of dispatch. The primary role of packaging is to contain, protect, and preserve a product as well as aid in its handling and final presentation. Packaging also refers to the process of design, evaluation, and production of packages. The packaging can be done within the export company, or the job can be assigned to an outside packaging company. Packaging provides following benefits to the goods to be exported. Physical protection. Packaging provides protection against shock, vibration, temperature, moisture, and dust. Containment or agglomeration. Packaging provides agglomeration of small objects into one package for reason of efficiency and cost factor. For example, it is better to put 1,000 pencils in one box rather than putting each pencil in separate 1,000 boxes. Marketing. Proper and attractive packaging play an important role in encouraging a potential buyer. Convenience. Packages can have features which add convenience in distribution, handling, display, sale, opening, use, and reuse. Security. Packaging can play an important role in reducing the security risks of shipment. It also provides authentication seals to indicate that the package and contents are not counterfeit. Packages can also include anti-theft devices such as die packs, RFID tags, or electronic article surveillance tags that can be activated or detected by devices at exit points and require specialized tools to deactivate. Using packaging in this way is a means of loss prevention. Like packaging, labeling should also be done with extra care. It is also important for an exporter to be familiar with the kinds of signs and symbols and should also maintain all the national and international standards while using these symbols. Labeling should be in English, and the words indicating country of origin should be as large and as prominent as any other English wording on the packaging or label. Labeling on product provides the following information: shipper's mark, country of origin, weight marking in pounds or in kilograms, number of packages and size of cases in inches and centimeters, handling marks, international pictorial symbols, cautionary markings such as this side up, port of entry, labels for hazardous materials. Labeling of a product also provides information like how to use, transport, recycle, or dispose of the package or product. With pharmaceuticals, food, medicine, and chemical products, some types of information are required by governments. It is better to choose fast dye for labeling purpose. Only fast dye should be used for labeling. Essential data should be in black and subsidiary data in a less conspicuous color, red and orange, or so on. For food packed in sacks, only harmless dyes should be employed, and the dye should not come through the packaging in such a way as to affect the goods. In addition to completing all documentation, special packing and marking requirements must be considered for shipments destined to be transported over water, subject to excessive handling, or destined for parts of the world with extreme climates or unprotected outdoor storage. Packing that is adequate for domestic shipments often falls short for goods subject to the conditions mentioned above. Protection against rough handling, moisture, temperature extremes, and pilferage, which increases total packing costs as well as the freight rate because of increased weight and size. Because some countries determine import duties on gross weight packing, can add a significant amount to import fees. To avoid the extremes of too much or too little packing, the marketers should consult export brokers, export freight forwarders, or other specialists. All countries regulate the marking of imported goods and containers, and non-compliance can result in severe penalties. Recently announced Peruvian regulations require all important foreign products to bear a brand, a name, country of origin, and an expiration date clearly inscribed on the product. In the case of imported apparel, shoes, electric appliances, automotive parts, liquors, and soft drink, the name and tax identity card number of the importer must also be attached. Peruvian customs refuse clearance to foreign products not fulfilling these requirements, and the importer has to reship the goods within 60 days of the customs appraisal date, or they are seized and auctioned as abandoned goods. Further, goods already in Peru must meet the provisions of the decree or be subject to public auction. The exporter must be careful that all markings on the container conform exactly to the data on the export documents, because customs officials often interpret discrepancies as an attempt to fraud. A freight forwarder or a forwarding agent is a person or company that organizes shipments for individuals or corporations to get large orders from the manufacturer or producer to market or final product of distribution. Forwarders will contact with a carrier to facilitate the movement of goods. A forwarder is not typically a carrier but is an expert in supply chain management. In other words, a freight forwarder is a travel agent for the cargo industry. A forwarder will contract with asset-based carriers to move cargo ranging from raw agricultural products to manufactured goods. Freight can be booked on a variety of carrier types, including ships, airplanes, trucks, and railroads. It is not unusual for a shipment to move along this route on multiple carrier types. International freight forwarders typically arrange cargo movement to an international destination. International freight forwarders have the expertise that allows them to prepare and process the documentation and perform related activities pertaining to international shipments. Some of the typical information reviewed by a freight forwarder is the commercial invoice, shipper's export declaration, bill of lading, and other documents required by a carrier or country of export, import, or transshipment. The specialized personnel who take care of all the formalities related to shipment of goods are known as the clearing and forwarding agents. Clearing agents' job involves the clearing of goods through customs barriers for importers and exporters, usually businesses. This involves the preparation of documents and/or electronic submissions, the calculation and payment of taxes, duties and excises, and facilitating communication between government authorities and importers and exporters. Clearing agents may be employed by or affiliated with freight forwarders, independent businesses, or shipping lines, importers, exporters, trade authorities, and customs brokerage firms. Cargo insurance, commonly known as marine insurance, occupies an important position in international business. It provides protection against unanticipated business to participate more freely in the business and expands their scope of their operations. Cargo insurance protects the traders and others against the risk of loss or damage to goods in transit from the seller to the buyer. A trader engaged in international business can protect his interests by taking an appropriate insurance policy from an insurance company. There are two reasons for securing the insurance cover. The first reason concerns the legal dimension of limited liability of the carriers and other intermediaries. The second reason concerns commercial considerations. Let us discuss them in detail. Legal dimension. When the goods are in transit from the exporter to the importer, they are at different stages in the custody of different agencies and authorities, including the clearing and forwarding agents, carriers, port and customs authorities, etc. If there is any loss or damage to the goods while in custody, the concerned intermediary may be held liable to pay damages to the cargo owners. The nature and extent of liabilities of various intermediaries have been defined in the respective laws enacted by the government all over the world. According to these laws, the intermediaries cannot be held liable for a loss to the cargo if it was caused by reasons or events beyond their control. For example, if the loss is due to natural disasters or war or strike, the intermediaries will not be liable to pay for the loss. Further, if the loss has occurred even if the concerned intermediary has exercised reasonable care in keeping the goods, it is legally exempted from the liability. In such situation, the cargo owners who suffer the loss cannot recover it from the intermediaries, and they have no other options but to obtain appropriate insurance cover. The laws also state that where the carriers or other intermediaries are liable for loss or damage, the maximum amount recoverable is limited to the sum stipulated in the respective laws. Thus, where the lost cargo is more valuable than the maximum recoverable amount, the cargo owners will have to bear some of the loss themselves. Commercial dimensions. From the point of view of an exporter, a transaction is complete as soon as the importer either pays for the bill of exchange on its presentation or he undertakes to make payment at a future date by accepting the bill. Sometimes, even before the bill of exchange is presented to the importer, he gets to know about the loss of goods in transit and does not accept the bill when presented. In such a situation, the exporter is compelled to bear the loss. Prudent exporters, therefore, prefer to get cargo insured. Further, as a commercial practice, cargo insurance makes it possible for the exporter to get post-shipment finance from the negotiating bank because the insurance policy is one of the required documents under a CIF contract. If, on the other hand, the contract is on FOB terms, the negotiating bank may advance money immediately after shipment, provided the shipping documents are in order and the bank is favored with an appropriate insurance policy. A marine or cargo insurance policy has an international character, and therefore, a policy taken in one country is acceptable in another country. This is because of the adoption of universally acceptable uniform rules governing insurance in different countries. Marine insurance in India is subject to the following legislations. Number 1, the Insurance Act of 1938 and the Insurance Rules of 1939. Number 2, the Marine Insurance Act of 1963. In India, the cargo insurance cover is provided only by nationalized insurance companies. These companies operate within the standard rules and regulations, including those which are provided in the All India Marine Cargo Tariff. Before we explain different aspects of the marine insurance contract, it should be clearly understood that the word marine used in the definition does not have any specific connotation. Despite the usage of this word, cargo insurance principles as stated in the definition are equally applicable to all modes of transport used in carriage of goods. The insurance contract is in the nature of indemnity. The literal meaning of indemnity is protection against loss or to compensate the loss. The object of an insurance contract is to place the insured after a loss in the same relative position in which he would have stood had no loss occurred. In other words, an insured can claim only that much he has suffered or lost. If cargo has been damaged by 10% of the insured value, the insured will be paid only that much amount, even though he has paid premium on the total insured value. But it must also be understood that the indemnity undertaken of the insurance company is only a commercial indemnity. The insurance company will place the assured in the same financial position as he was before the loss. Since the insurance companies cannot undertake to reinstate or replace cargo in the event of a loss, they pay a sum of money agreed in advance between the insured and the insurer called the insurable value. Insurable value is calculated with reference to market value of the insured goods, to which is added an agreed percentage to cover general overheads as well as to provide a margin of profit on the transaction. From this range, an indemnity in insurance does not cover either a gambling loss or a sentimental loss, which is an intangible loss. Consequently, over-insurance, that is, insurance more than the market value plus a certain percentage, is not the principle of cargo insurance. In practice, the amount of loss payable is based on the CIF value of goods, to which is added an agreed percentage. According to prevailing practice in India, maximum insurable value for export cargo is equal to CIF plus 15%. Generally, the percentage added to CIF value is 10. It is customary in the insurance businesses to issue duty policies to cover duty payable on the imported goods. In such cases, claims are payable either on the basis of actual duty paid or on the basis of the sum insured, whichever is less. Thus, the sum payable cannot exceed the actual loss of the duty amount paid by the insured. It is also implied that the sum insured in the duty policy would not include any percentage to cover general overheads and the margin of profit. Marine cargo insurance is an integral part of national and international trade and is required by importers, exporters, manufacturers, distributors, retailers, wholesalers, and the others engaged in the movement of goods by sea, air, road, rail, and post. The risks and hazards during transit. The main hazards to which moving goods and/or property are exposed during transit are perils of the sea, theft, malicious damage, fire and accidental damage, etc. Types of policies. Specific policy. It is a policy for single shipment by sea or air, rail or post. Open policy is an annual policy subject to monthly declaration. Open cover, an annual policy subject to a deposit premium and annual adjustment. Scope of cover provides cover against loss or damage to cargo during transit from one place to another by any or more modes of transport. Marine policy coverage varies from a restricted cover to an all-risk cover. The cargo insurance policy can be as wide as to cover all possible kinds of risks and losses to which cargo should be exposed in transit. The events which lead to loss or damage to the cargo are perils against which insurance cover can be obtained. These perils may be categorized into 4 groups. Let us discuss them in detail. These perils are the ones to which cargo is exposed in transit and caused by either an act of God, that is, a natural calamity, or an act of man, which is a man-made event either through negligence or through connivance. The perils may occur while the cargo is in transit either on land, inland water, sea, or in air. An act of God may also be described as an extraordinary and violent action of waves and winds. Common examples of act of God are earthquake, volcanic eruption and lightning, entry of seawater into the vessel, washing overboard of cargo and rainwater damage. Common examples of man-made perils are fire, explosion, smoke, and water used to extinguish fire, piracy and deliberate acts, that is, vandalism, sapage, arson, etc. Extraneous perils. There are the identical perils to which the cargo is exposed. These are caused mainly on account of the faults in loading, keeping, carrying and unloading of cargo. Examples of such perils are improper storage, rough handling, breakage and leakage, hook and sling damage, contact with mud, oil and acids, theft, pilferage and non-delivery. The maritime and extraneous perils are incorporated in the cargo clauses standardized by the Institute of London underwriters. These clauses constitute the terms and conditions of the insurance and are appended to the policy form known as MAR policy form. War perils. War perils covered by the Institute war clauses refer to the following events. 1. War. Civil war, revolution, rebellion or civil strike or any hostile act by or against a belligerent power. Number 2. Capture, seizure, arrest, restraint or detainment of carrier or craft arising from event mentioned in 1. Thus, confiscation by the customs authorities of goods being smuggled cannot be insured. And number 3. Derelict or abandoned mines, torpedoes, bombs or other derelict weapons of war. It is clear from the above that war risk insurance is not only against hostile or warlike activities, but also for perils which continue to exist even after the war is over. War risk cover is provided with certain restrictions about the duration of the cover. Some of the major restrictions are: A. The cover is restricted to the period while goods are waterborne in a ship or up in the craft. B. The cover attaches as the goods are loaded into the vessels, aircraft or craft used to carry the goods to the vessel. C. The cover terminates either as the goods are discharged from the vessel or aircraft at the final port of discharge or on the expiry of 15 days from the midnight at the day of arrival, whichever is earlier. The limit of 15 days also applies to cases where vessel or aircraft carrying cargo cannot go to the final port and the cargo is discharged at some other port. D. In case of sea shipments, a 15-day limit does not apply where the cargo is discharged from the overseas vessel into a craft for delivering the cargo to the shore. The time limit for goods in crafts is 60 days after the discharge from the overseas vessel. Strike perils. In marine insurance, strike perils mean events which lead to the loss or damage to cargo caused by 1. Strikes. Lockout workmen or persons taking part in labor disturbance, riots or civil commotions. And 2. A terrorist or any person acting from a political motive. It is clear from the above that strike perils are not only the ones which are caused by the striking workmen. These also include perils caused by political activities. In fact, strike perils, as opposed to war perils, are the handiwork of citizens of the same country. The perils are covered under the Institute's strike clause supplement of the Institute war clauses. It is therefore customary for war and strike risks to be covered jointly in the payment of a single premium. However, strike clauses have been so designed that they can be used separately from the war risk cover. Regarding the duration of the cover, the strike risk cover is from warehouse of the exporter to the warehouse of the importer. It exists throughout the whole period of transit. This stipulation is in contrast to the 15-day time limit for war risks cover at either the final port of discharge or at an intermediate port. However, even when the cover is from the warehouse of the seller to that of the buyer, there is an implied time limit for the transport of cargo from the final port of discharge to the warehouse of the buyer. This time limit is 60 days in case of marine, that is, sea transit, and 30 days for air transit, after the final discharge at the port. The decision of whether or not to insure the freight is not always a clear-cut, simple choice. There are many factors to consider, such as the total value of goods shipped, the shipping origin and destination, the mode of transport, etc. Once the determination is made, the next question is how to insure the shipment. To assist in this evaluation, the options below outline the types of coverage available. If you choose not to pay to insure the shipment, the goods shipped are automatically covered under legal liability standard of the transportation industry. In the case of partial loss or damage, only the lost or damaged portion of the freight is subject to claim settlement amount. For international shipments, the legal liability set forth by the Warsaw Convention is $20 per kg, or the actual value of goods if less than $20 per kg. For international sea freight shipments, the legal liability limit is $500 per customary shipping unit, where FCL, one container, is equal to one shipping unit. LCL, shipping units, is equal to piece of count on the ocean bill of lading. To insure shipment for the replacement of the goods shipped in case of total or partial loss or damage, request insurance for the replacement value of the goods, that is, commercial invoice value. To insure shipment for the replacement of the goods shipped in case of total or partial loss or damage, plus the cost of shipping the freight, request insurance for the CIF value of the shipment. CIF plus 10% terms, commercial invoice value plus insurance costs plus freight is equal to CIF value into 110%, where 10% is for any unforeseen costs or charges. This type of insurance covers the shipping costs too, in the case of damage or loss where the repair or replacement must be done somewhere other than the consignee's location. Recoverable freight charges may be prorated based on the portion of shipment damaged in the case of partial loss or damage. If there is damage and the repair occurs at the final destination of the goods, that is, the consignee's facility, no freight charges are refundable. It is important to insure goods for their proper value. If a shipment is underinsured, then the claim will only be paid to the percentage that the shipment was insured for. For example, the value of goods is $10,000, insurance value $5,000, damaged repair cost $4,000. The insurance was purchased at 50% of the goods value, therefore 50% of the claim amount will be paid. If a shipment is over-insured, you are not able to get coverage beyond the repair or replacement costs. The result is an overpayment of premium. Proper notation on shipping documents and notification to the appropriate parties is essential to ensure the ability to process a claim. Like all insurances, payment of the premium and freight charges is required in order for the coverage to be confirmed and a claim to be filed and ultimately settled. As an example, if you don't pay your auto insurance and get an accident, then you don't have any coverage. That is all for today. Hope you have understood the various topics covered today with reference to the procedures involved in shipping and insurance practices, which constitute the essential services for the operation of foreign trade. We'll see you again with some other management topic. Till then, take care. Goodbye.